Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at a really interesting op-ed piece. It's called Peace and Unity, A Hope, Not Reality, and it's by Dr. Wat.
Right, and it digs into the Lao community, specifically around Washington, D.C., focuses on the local Buddhist temple there, Wat Lao Buddhavong.
Exactly. And what really stands out is how it tackles this gap, the gap between this ideal, everyone hopes for peace, unity, and the sometimes messy reality of conflicts.
Yeah, conflicts that can happen anywhere, really.
Yeah.
But here, specifically within the temple community, so among monks, leaders, supporters, the lay followers,
Yeah.
it covers all those bases.
And the core message isn't just saying, oh, there are problems. It's more of a call to action, isn't it?
It is. It's just shifting focus. Stop sort of passively hoping for unity to just appear.
And
Instead, take decisive action. Make choices for the long-term health of the temple.
Okay, so let's unpack that first big idea, this illusion of perfect harmony.
Yeah, Dr. Watt comes right out and says it. Absolute harmony, perfect agreement. It's just not possible in any real community.
Even a religious one.
Even there. And the op-ed argues we need to maybe reevaluate expecting peace and unity as preconditions. You can't do anything until everyone's perfectly aligned.
Right, because disagreements, they're going to happen. That's just human nature, isn't it?
Pretty much inevitable. So the focus shouldn't be on eliminating disagreement, but on how you handle it, how you navigate it constructively.
It makes you think, doesn't it? Like if you wait for perfect agreement before doing anything.
You could be waiting a long time. Things might just stagnate.
Yeah, you get stuck. Which leads right into the next point about leadership.
Decisive leadership. Dr. Watt really emphasizes this.
The idea that leaders need to, lead. Step up and make the necessary calls.
Even the unpopular ones.
Yeah, that's the hard part, right? Avoiding conflict, trying to keep everyone happy.
It's tempting. But the op-ed argues that delaying, avoiding those tough decisions, trying to please everyone, it actually weakens the temple's future.
Creates inertia. I think, many of us listening might recognize that pattern in different groups or organizations.
Definitely. It's this risk of organizational paralysis. Problems don't vanish if you ignore them. Often they just get worse.
So it's a call for proactive leadership, thinking about the institution's future, not just short-term comfort or, being liked.
Exactly. And that need for accountability. It extends to the monks, too, according to the piece.
Okay, how so?
Well, the op-ed states their main job, their primary duty, is spiritual guidance.
Makes sense.
But, it argues, if they're not fulfilling that role effectively, then change has to happen. Progress shouldn't be blocked just because opinions differ or there's resistance.
That sounds like it could be a delicate area, the respect for monks versus the practical needs of the community and the temple.
It certainly raises important questions about roles and responsibilities within that structure. The implication is clear, though. Effective spiritual guidance is vital.
And this all feeds into the idea of a long-term vision, right? Acting based on that rather than just emotion.
Precisely. Decisions, especially big ones, need to prioritize the temple's long-term protection, its sustainability, its integrity.
Not just knee-jerk reactions or what feels good in the moment.
Right. Emotion has its place, of course, but it can't be the only driver for leadership choices affecting the future.
It's that discipline of looking ahead, thinking about the consequences down the road for Wat Lao Buddhavong.
And interestingly, the focus then shifts a bit in the op-ed. It talks about the supporters.
The wider community.
Yeah. And the suggestion is, instead of maybe getting bogged down in endless debates about unity.
Which can go in circles.
Exactly. Channel that energy into strengthening the temple's core mission, whatever that might be, services, culture, community work.
So it's about tangible contributions, moving from abstract arguments to practical support, very action-focused.
It is. And that extends to the volunteers, too.
Okay.
Dr. Watt encourages volunteers to make sure their commitment, their efforts, are directed towards things that genuinely benefit the temple. Real, tangible benefits.
Making sure that goodwill and energy are actually, moving the needle. Not just busy work, but effective work.
Because good intentions are great, but they need to be channeled effectively.
And underpinning all of this action and leadership is resource management.
Crucial point. Managing money, buildings, people, all the resources wisely.
With that long-term success in mind?
Yes. And a warning against waste, inefficiency. Because that drains the temple's ability to thrive.
No matter the resources, they aren't infinite. You have to be good stewards of them.
And all these threads, leadership, accountability, action, resources, They all tie back to Dr. Watt's central argument.
Which is,
The future of the institution, Wat Lao Buddhavong itself, has to come first.
before individual agendas or popularity.
Or even just the comfort of keeping things as they are. It's about prioritizing the temple's well-being above all that.
That's a strong stance. And the op-ed points out the risks if that doesn't happen, right?
Yes. Problems festering. Ineffective people staying in place, monks not being accountable, resources being misused. It paints a picture of potential decline if these issues aren't tackled.
So the way forward, according to Dr. Watt, it's not necessarily about finding perfect harmony first.
No, it's about focusing on purpose, preserving heritage, strengthening the temple, supporting leaders who make those necessary decisive calls.
Even without universal agreement.
Even then, the idea is that the temple thrives through action, despite conflict, not because conflict magically disappears.
It feels quite pragmatic, actually, realistic.
It does, and it's worth noting how Dr. Watt frames this. It's explicitly presented as personal opinions, personal observations.
Not as official policy or anything like that.
Right. The stated goal is to spark discussion, reflection, engagement within the community, and leadership.
And it emphasizes that it's not about pointing fingers at specific people.
No, more about highlighting these broader, maybe systemic challenges that might exist.
The aim seems to be promoting accountability, effective leadership.
And meaningful contributions,
Yeah.
all geared towards that long-term sustainability for the temple.
And while it acknowledges, that people will have different views,
Which is totally normal.
the final push is towards action. It's a call to really examine how things are being done and commit to what's best for the temple overall, even if it's uncomfortable sometimes.
So if we boil it all down, the key tension in Dr. Watt's piece is really this. You have the hope for peace and unity
The ideal.
versus the practical need for decisive action to keep the temple healthy and strong for the future.
And the main takeaway seems to be that you don't need perfect agreement to make progress.
Exactly. A thriving community like this temple can emerge from having courageous leadership, accountability, and that clear long-term vision.
Even if disagreements still exist.
Even then, action becomes the key.
Which leaves us, and you listening, with something to think about.
How does this tension, the ideal of unity versus the need for action, play out elsewhere? Maybe in organizations or communities you're involved in.
Yeah. What could be gained potentially by focusing more on progress, on moving forward rather than getting stuck waiting for that perfect consensus, something to chew on?